Hantan Niltulian Meldinin, and thank you once again for joining me. My name is Lord Aramel, and rest well tonight, for tomorrow we've got a busy day. We're going to be capping off the first two floors of the Great Hall. Ah, look at that moon. Hmm. Ah, this is the life, my friends. Let's get to it. Good morning, everybody. I hope you all slept well. Uh, Now, today we're going to be working on the Great Hall, like I mentioned earlier. That's how often we get invaded, by the way. I don't care anymore. So here, I'm working on the balconies that I teased about in the last episode. Now, these I'm pretty fond of, I'll be honest. I'm not 100% on the slab use, but overall, I think they turned out pretty well. You'll see here in a minute or two what I mean. The use of slabs in making a more delicate arch is something that you'll see quite a bit of in this build. I really like archways. I feel like it's an important part of not only architecture, but especially elven architecture. And there's Venus. Hi, Venus. As usual, one block short. Now, after the past few days, I decided that it was really important that we get a roof on over our head. Especially with the rain and us now having a library. Now, of course, the library itself has already got a roof, but we should still keep that in mind. I was very pleased with myself. So here, just a slight fast forward ahead. We are bringing up walls on what will eventually be several bedrooms. Now, I wanted to put down a few of these walls so that I could figure out where to put this archway that I'm building right now. Because once again, stone is very heavy, and you want to be able to support it in some manner. Now, of course, in Minecraft, it's not very important that you do so. As a matter of fact, it doesn't matter at all. But we do try for a little bit of realism, just enough to make it look good. An orc had a bad day. Uh, the there we go. Making an archway really isn't difficult, so I do suggest it. Not only does it look better and make your build more believable, but it does that very important task of breaking up what would otherwise be a massive cube. Luckily for us, the Lord of the Rings mod has all of these blocks that will let us really be more creative as well. And as you can see, I'm starting to use a bit of high elven blocks, because at this level is where the Nardu portion of the castle will really begin to take hold. You may remember, of course, that the castle was originally an Arnorian fortress, and only much later would come into Nardu's possession. Now in this section, I decided that I wanted a very decorative and non-stone method. And I thought about using just normal beams, but then the idea struck me to use Rohirrim golden beams. And you'll see them in action here in a moment. Now, these are more representative. Of course, we aren't actually bringing in beams uh, from Rohan. Rohan's quite a distance away. But the act of carving wood, especially important central beams like this one, is pretty ubiquitous. And I think it just looks really good, personally. Of course, I'm just a few short, so go all the way back and get a few more. There we go. Voila. Now, I really like these, so I'm going to be using Rohirrim uh, beams here quite a bit. And you'll see that I use them to pretty decent effect, at least as far as I believe. Um, so just have it flanked on either side. And brush all the way back up. There we go. Perfect. Now we're getting all the way to the tree, which is a good thing. Uh, I've been thinking on different ways to include the tree into Narduhal's design. Here I finally got tired of running all the way around and elected to make some poor man's scaffolding out of dirt. Voila! First part of the floor is complete. Now that'll form the main hallway that will connect all of the rooms upstairs. I wanted more beams because I'd have those radiating off from the sides. Yeah. And here I decided just to bump that up one block. Perfect. Go. Quickly do the same on the other side. And bring a nice little hallway of the beams across. More beams. Now, I knew I wanted to have more archways, of course. So I made sure to pepper a couple of them in here and there, wherever it basically made sense to. And here I'm planning in one of the first rooms. Because my original plan called for the wall to only go as far as it had there, but extending it a couple more blocks out would then put it in line with those pillars, which weren't part of my original design, actually. Now there, you see, I removed the block, and now it looks like the beam is being supported by the archway. I guess that'd be a buttress terminology. Now, of course, these stone blocks are temporary, at least as far as we and the build are concerned, and I'll come back to that and clean it up later. Now, I wanted a reasonably dark wood that would really work well in the creation of our roof and or our floor, depending on which way you're looking at it. So I eventually went with green oak. Um, Now, technically, this is something that comes from Mirkwood, uh, so it's not exactly a local plant. Uh-oh. There's the orc. There we go. One less orc. So while I'm using green oak, it's more representative than anything else. There we go. It's basically just a dark oak wood. Here, remove those. Perfect. Now, if you think back to the library build, when I was putting down slabs again and again, you'll remember how long it took me. So, I believe I cut out a fair chunk of that, but it's still quite a to-do, as it were. It's a big project, uh, doing basically anything on this scale, especially in survival mode. So, here, once again, we have the archway supporting the beam, and that is actually realistic. I actually got the idea from an architect friend of mine. So, shouts that out. Oh, what? Did you see that too? Yeah, I definitely saw someone go under the castle and speak. I guess we'll check it out later. Hmm. Anyways, like I said, shout out to Uther, who gave me the idea. In recognition, his room's going to be one of the first that we tackle here. Probably in a couple episodes. There we go. Now, unfortunately, my room won't even be on this level, so I'm pretty much uh, still living in the boulder for probably the foreseeable future, to be entirely honest. There are definitely people down there. Yeah, we should probably check that out. And it's bandits. So Venus and I both uh, decided to check this out. There we go. Between the two of us, uh, 3 bandits, no problem. They're trying to take back the castle. Well, we're not going to let them have it. Venus has always been very busy killing orcs, so I'm quite grateful for her. She keeps them off me. So here we've got the floor. It's really taking shape. We've got these more gradual archways. And funny enough, I didn't mean to cut out that much. Uh, I actually I paused the recording to do something and kind of forgot to turn it back on. But you can see I moved our crafting up here out of the Great Hall, finally, because it was getting to be a real pain to go all the way back down and then run back up. I've got a couple chests still down there, but we'll take care of them shortly. I didn't change too much either that you would really have to be filled in on. It's all pretty basic filler at this point. Though you can see the outline of several rooms now. And the outline doesn't shift much, so you get a pretty solid idea on the future floor plan. The only problem with this archway is that some of the design gets covered up when placing the wooden floor. But unfortunately, that's just something that we're going to have to do. I don't even know how much green oak slabs we've used, but I do know that I had to make at least one extra trip all the way to Mirkwood to get more. So even in a game with teleportation, this was quite an undertaking just for resources. Go. Oh, so much wood. I am going to fix that tower so that it rotates the other way, I think, and connects to the armory directly. It's just kind of a pain otherwise. Yeah. Maybe on the next episode, we'll see that. There we go. Voila. And now, really all that's left is to build up a couple arches and bring up those fireplace chimneys. Oh, and to get rid of the dirt door. Running up this way. A few more staircase blocks. Always helpful. And voila. There's one. And there's two. Now, I wanted these chimneys to be able to warm up all of these rooms that they are joining. So I kind of toyed around with a few different styles of working that in. I don't think that I've really completed it yet either. Like, I thought about continuing the pattern that we had, but I'm not quite sold on that. It's kind of tricky. I did think about using some of these gates as kind of vents that you could open or close. But instead, I placed down these reed bars, which, to me at least, really look like actual vents, like what I have in my actual house. So, and that block's gone, but that's okay. Now, we've got these reed bars down as our vents, and we'll probably just play around with those chimneys more in the future, probably off camera, honestly. No, it's just a few bits of touch-up here and there. A quick shift to night. Honestly, we're practically done here. Voila, everybody. Now we just remove the scaffolding, patch up that. Let's see. Oh, also got to put on the doors to the balconies. I'm always a fan of these Hobbit doors, so. And then we just remove those chests, and the basic structure of the first two floors is absolutely complete. Oh, and there we have it, folks. The Great Hall of Narduhal. It is finally done. I'm not gonna lie, this was quite something. I really like how it turned out, though. It definitely feels quite cavernous, almost. It definitely has the feeling of being large, which is something that a lot of Minecraft builds can lose pretty quickly. Yeah, it still feels like a large open space, even with the roof on it, and so much going on inside of it. These large pillars, these absolutely massive chimneys and fireplaces. Second story. We'll lose a little bit of the openness when we add in the tables and chairs and all that fun stuff. But that will probably mostly be off to the sides, up top. So this central area is pretty much done. Let's see if I can safely remove a torch or two. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll probably add in some lighting on, say, those tables once again, or wherever else we feel it is necessary. Oh. I hope nothing spawns in this spot. That's going to be difficult to light up, but it's okay for now. Even if an orc does decide to spawn in here, well, they're going to have a really bad day. Now, a lot of you noticed... Well, I'm probably going to talk about this. Looking upstairs. Oh, I should probably fill this in. I don't have anything on me, but I'll do that. I want to get that as well. But we have most of the outline ready for the next floor up. A bunch of bedrooms over in here. A nice big assembly hall over here. Of course, we've moved everything up out of the Great Hall and closer to where we'll be building. This main tree will need to get trimmed and expanded upon, I feel. I want to expand it out a little bit so that we have kind of a tree house coming out of the back of Narduhal, because at the moment this is a very boring piece of wall. We'll fix that too. Probably add some design and decoration. Nothing probably too crazy. I'll probably whip that up pretty quickly. Yeah. But it's really coming along quite nicely. Now we won't get rained on in our own house. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Next up, I think we will finally complete the gatehouse. Yeah, that's probably an important factor. We've done well thus far. All of this is gorgeous. I'm really liking the carved Rohan pillars. Or columns, beams, whatever the block is actually called. I really like it. A little bit of color is really helpful. I think it goes with the Merc Oak very nicely. Of course, I'm not an interior decorator, so someone with more artistic talent than I have probably is looking at that. It's like, could be better. But you know what? I like it. The gold trim is just subtle enough to not be too ostentatious. Yeah. So there we have it. Oh. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining me. My name is, once again, Lord Aramil, and I can't wait to have you on the next one. Farewell.